Hello and welcome to the first chapter of my vector tutorial. Today we'll be doing line art, which you can be using for crisp lines or mimicking a comic book-esque style. So that and this kind of just some examples that I've done in the past. So you can see, you can get that nice dark and crisp comic book style drawings. Okay, so first what we're going to need is the pen tool. That is the main tool that we're going to be using to make vector art, which you can get to by pressing P on your keyboard. Alternatively, you can click this icon right here. Now if you right click it, you'll see that there are several kinds of pen tools. Just make sure you get this top one right here if it's not already on default. That's the one you want to use. And up here there are several modes that you can choose. You want to use shape, not paths. I'll explain why later. So what we'll be doing now is we're going to make a silhouette of the whole thing. So rather than actually making lines one by one like this, for example, what we're going to do is we're actually going to make a silhouette of the whole shape. So in this case it's a character, but if you're doing a building you can make a silhouette of the whole structure. So where do we start? An ideal place to start would be the corner. Anywhere where you have a corner, that's an ideal place to start. You don't want to be starting it like in the middle of the forearm, in the middle of a curve. That's generally not a good idea, even if you're using a pencil or a brush. You want to start from one point and then make a flow out into another. So let's do that. So for this one, my sketch here, I'm just going to make a start right here where the hair splits. So you just click a point there, and then it's like connect the dots. You click another point and the lines will connect, like so. And you want to get into your muscle memory of clicking and dragging. Every time you click a new point, just drag out a little bit so you get these little tweezers coming out of here. Now what that does is it allows you to adjust your curves, how long you want it and in what angle. So every time you click out, just drag it out a little bit. You don't need to do this much, even if the curve requires that much. You just want to get out a little bit so that you can use these points to adjust the curves again later or immediately after. I'll just make a quick demonstration here of making the adjustment. So you can pull it out like that, or adjust it to fit the lines really. So you click another point, pull it out a little bit, and then adjust the line. Now to adjust the line, you want to use this white arrow right here, but flicking from the pencil to the white arrow can be pretty annoying, especially if you're going to do this for every single point. So what you want to do is keep one of your fingers by the control key. If you hold control while you're on the pen tool, you immediately go into that white arrow and you can make your adjustments. And of course, as soon as you make the points, the shapes will close off from the first point to the last point. And once you get to do many other points like that, you'll find that it's covering your image underneath. So what you can do is reduce the opacity here. I like to use 50, but it doesn't really matter as long as you can see it. A quick way to do it is just press 5 on your keyboard, either the numpad or the normal number 5, and either one works. And that just makes it partially transparent, and you can continue to work while you can see what you're working on underneath. And what just happened there is that it created a new point because you need to click the last point so that you can continue on making new shapes if you somehow exited your pen tool. So yeah, I'll just quickly demonstrate a few more points over here. So yeah, understanding where you put these points comes naturally after practice, really. And if you can't see it, you can zoom in to make it easier. And basically you'll be going through this process all the way until you close off the silhouette of the whole character, in my case. I'm not going to do that because that's just a waste of time. I'll cut the video so that you can see what it will look like once it finishes. But before I do that, I'll just explain why I use vector. There's a lot of people ask, why do you use vector when you can just draw it on? Because it does take a lot of time and it's really tedious. One of the main benefits is that, first of all, when you create something, it's easy to adjust, right? And more importantly, it doesn't blur. You can rescale it to any size and it doesn't blur, because every time you rescale it, it'll redraw itself automatically from point to point. So rather than stretching the points that you already have, it redraws everything with the new coordinates of the vectors. And that's really helpful if you're working on one image and then you want to merge it into another image, because sometimes when you're working on one canvas or one file, the files get really big, and if your computer's not good enough, it can lag. Like this right now, it's actually really laggy, but that's okay, I'm used to it. And yeah, you just want to get into your muscle memory of click, drag, and adjust. Click, drag, and adjust. And if you make a mistake, you have your finger next to the control button anyway, so you can just Control Z, and it's just really convenient. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut the video right here, and I'll see you guys when I'm done. Alright, so I've fully finished the silhouette, and I'll just turn that off. And that's what it looks like. If we put it back up to 100% opacity, you'll see your shape starting to come. But we don't want a silhouette, we want lines, crisp lines. So what we're going to do, we'll bring that down. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention, when you create a new vector shape, it'll automatically create a new layer for you. And with a vector, you can only have one color per layer. So if your character is pretty colorful, you're going to have a lot of layers, so just be sure to label so you know exactly what you want. So I'll just label that vector, and we'll start with the head, because generally that's a nice place to start. Yeah, we'll start with the hair. So what you want to do is you go up here, and there's a few options here. What you want to do is subtract from the shape. Now what this does is we're cutting out parts from the silhouette, and I'll demonstrate what it looks like here. Again, starting from the corner here, working your way down to the other corner, make a nice flow. If it doesn't fit your lines, you can always click somewhere in the middle to create a new point, so that you can readjust the lines as you see fit. So I'm just gonna quickly cut off a few parts of the vector right here, and already you can see that you were cutting out the shapes, and eventually when you cut out enough shapes, those shapes turn into, the leftover shapes turn into lines. So I'll just do some more here. Again, click, drag, and adjust. Click, drag, and adjust. And you can see here already we're making lines. Just like that. Now if we turn this back into 100% opacity, you can see that kind of works. Now how thick you want to make your lines, that's entirely up to you. I guess that's just something you need to know as an artist yourself anyway, if you're going to be drawing with traditional tools or making comic books. You know, that understanding the line weight is something you'll need to know, and I won't include that in this tutorial because it's not really about vector, that's just something you need to learn anyway. Also, I'll demonstrate with this point right here on how to understand where you put your point. You want to look at the main shape of the line, because this line right here has two curves, one going out this way and one going out that way, and with one point you can only make one curve. So don't forget to click your last point. You want to have this curve going here and also another curve going here, and then you can readjust that. Alternatively, you can click your main destination point, which is right here, and then click a point in the middle that you're going to bring in here. And if you do that, these are already set the correct length for you, and it just makes it easier. And something I want to cover here is when you cut out shapes, you cut out everything inside, like that. So if you have a line inside of a cutout shape like that and you want to add it in, because you know that's part of your drawing, what you can do is you go up here again and you pick combine shapes. What that does is it adds new shapes without creating a new layer, because if you click this one you can draw a new shape, but then you'll just have tons and tons of layers, and you don't really want to do that. You want to keep everything as clean as you can. So combine shapes, draw the line as you normally do, and you've added a shape, a line inside of a cutout shape. And we've got one more right here. Go back to your layer, make sure your combined shape is ticked on, draw the line, and there you have it. So basically you want to keep doing this for the whole character. So you turn it from a silhouette into crisp lines. And I'll just demonstrate right here. If I resize it, oops, if I resize it, you've got no blurring going on. And again, I'm just going to cut the video here and I'll return to you when I'm done. Alright, so I finished using all the subtract shapes on everything to basically turn everything into lines, or give the effect that they look like lines. And in some parts, use them as cast shadows directly. I could use a few more, but yeah, as it is, it's quite alright. And also, again, going back to one of the benefits of using vector, as you can see, this hand is actually a lot smaller than that one, even though it is a little bit further away, but it's too small. So what we can do is highlight the points that you need, Control T to transform, and you can rescale them as you want. And so until it's about there. And in perspective, that looks about right. Definitely a lot better than that. So yeah, this concludes my vector tutorial. I hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching.